Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CX Goalkeeper podcast. I am super thrilled today because Greg Melia is together with me. Hi, Greg. How are you?
Hi, Greg. Across the ocean, glad to be with you.
The same name, but far away. We have the next episode of this podcast. Thank you very much for accepting my invitation. I am thrilled that we are going to discuss about the customer experience professional associations. There are a lot of people already there, but we still have potential to grow. And with this podcast, I would like to share a bit more about the CXPA. Before we start discussing about the CXPA, I always ask my guests to introduce themselves so that you can share your career highlights and make understandable for the audience what you're doing. Greg, please welcome to the CX Goalkeeper podcast. Could you please introduce yourself?
Thank you, Greg. It's great to be invited onto the pitch and to have this conversation with you today. I'm going to try to work in as many of the European soccer terms that I can think of along the way. But for those who don't know me, my name's Greg Melia, CAE, which is Certified Association Executive. And I have the honor to serve as the CEO of the Customer Experience Professionals Association, which means that I get to work with CX professionals from across the globe to help define and raise standards for the customer experience profession, bring people together to accomplish things that they can't easily do on their own, and to help make sure that we're raising awareness and respect and celebrating great customer experience that's happening throughout the world.
Thank you.
Now,
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, now, a lot of people wonder along the way, what has your career path been? Where have you come from? And you can see the books behind me. That's actually my bookshelf. And most of those books are anthropology and systems theory and some CX thrown in for good measure. Trained a social anthropologist at the London School of Economics. And my background really has been in hospitality, in working with government consulting, and then in association management, including the last several years at CXPA.
Thank you very much. I wanted only to state that we are honored that you are our CEO. I am also a proud member of the CXPA. I'm a CCXP, Customer Experience Professional. And thank you very much, really, for the great job that you did in the last 2 years.
Thank you.
I always ask this question, and I'm really looking forward to listen to your answer. Which values drive you in life?
That's a great question. There are a lot of things that come to mind. Giving back, intellectual curiosity, and really trying to leave the world in a better place that I've been. But I'll share a little story, and I have a book. One of the books from the shelf, Muzafer Sharif. And Muzafer Sharif was a social psychologist who introduced a term called superordinate goal. And what that means is trying to bring people together for a higher purpose. A longer story, which I'll skip for the moment, but that's what I'm always trying to do. How can we listen to different perspectives, find the common ground, and create something that unites us to all work further and farther together?
I think like a soccer team, or in Europe, a football team, working together through a same target, a same goal, winning the game. And for sure, we can define what winning the game means. But I think at the end, it's really a great similarity. Thank you for your introduction. Going to the main topic, the CXPA, perhaps it's all about customer experience. Where does customer experience come from? Because the CXPA is there since, I think, 12 years.
Yeah, if we trace the roots of customer experience, I think the first time that the term was used was a article that Luc Carbone contributed to in a marketing magazine in the mid-90s. It traces its roots to the quality management movement and to really looking at the development of customer relationship management. I think that the foundation and founding of CXPA in 2011 marked a really important time, because prior to the founding, there were very few companies that had departments or positions that were specifically dedicated to customer experience. Many of them were in consumer management or in complaint resolution. And what it marked was a shift in mindset, that we should think holistically about the perceptions that customers have across time. And in its early days, CXPA was a community that allowed people to exchange ideas. And since we're talking about the soccer field, I'll actually use a analogy that the great grandfather of customer experience, Bruce Temkin, shared with the CXPA at the Insight Exchange a few years ago in New Orleans. And what Bruce shared was that in the early days of CXPA, customer experience was a little bit like your kids on a soccer pitch. And everyone is out there. We're all happy because we're playing the ball and we're playing around, but no one's really headed in the same direction. It's just everybody's doing their own thing. And when somebody does something cool, somebody else tries to copy it. And Bruce went on to share, and this is the progression that we've seen, is that then you start developing strategies and techniques. I love Italian soccer. When I watch Italian soccer and you see these long passes across the field and these well-designed set plays, very different than the sort of bullyish American soccer that I grew up with, and so to think about, well, what are the techniques? What are the strategies? Nowadays, I think Bruce ended his analogy by pointing out that customer experience has become much more like an orchestra, where you have a conductor and the CX leader is the conductor that's bringing out the strengths and the elements of the different parts and different parts of the orchestra or parts of the organization to create something beautiful, to create a symphony that is creating that customer experience.
No, I think what you're saying, it's really interesting. And at the end, we are playing on this field. And I would like to understand from you, how did customer experience change throughout the years? Because, for example, one biggest learning that I had is I use it. They were 6, now there are 5 pillars from the CXPA, and I tried to explain to our board in my former employer what was customer experience. And with these pillars, I was able to explain to them it's not only about creating one journey or doing this or doing that or doing, as you said, complaint management, but it's a bit broader. It's about a bit really thinking about the customer from the beginning to the end. What's your view on that?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Greg. The importance of what CXPA and the CXPA community has done to help raise awareness that we shouldn't be arguing over the definition of what we mean. We shouldn't be trying to change from CX to a different set of letters. What we should be doing is agreeing on the topic that we're discussing so that we can then begin to advance the conversation. So I was really, really pleased that CXPA came together and developed what is CX.com. And a common definition for customer experience and a customer experience professional so that we can advance the conversation. So that was, I think we did that about 3 years ago. And then where does that lead to? Coming up with, one sentence that says customer experience is the perception that a customer has of an organization across all touch points, technology, and time, that results in the perception that the customer has of that organization. Agreeing on that and agreeing that customer experience professional is a catalyst that works across the organization to drive those results allowed us to take that space and create the CX Book of Knowledge, 322 pages of textbook material that talks about the fundamental techniques, the fundamental theories, the fundamental steps and definitions that are used. And so that's sort of where we are. There's a lot of work to be done because right now, We've identified over 120 universities that are teaching customer experience courses, and that's great. But the next question is, are they teaching the same techniques and information that employers care about? And so that's why CCXP and the Book of Knowledge are all based on research of actual CX professionals around the world to say, what do you do on a daily basis? How important is it to your success? And we update that every 5 years, which is why we went from 6, to 5. It's not just a one consulting company's perspective. It is the sense of the community.
Yeah, what you are saying, it's really interesting, and it brings me also to the next question, because I see in LinkedIn, in all these platforms, a lot of discussion. Our 6 pillars, our 5 pillars, it should be 4. I have 3 that are better than the one of the CXPA. I create my view on that, but at the end, we are always speaking about the same, putting it from a bit different point of view. And in our CX community, there is a little buzzword. Everybody's speaking about customer experience. I can find millions of articles about, for example, customer journey management. If I go to a CFO and I speak about customer journey management, the first thing that he's telling me, and I tried that because I wanted to test that, he said, I couldn't care less about customer journey management. What does it bring to the business? What does it bring to us? That's the question that he asked. You are the manager, the senior manager in charge. If you want to use customer journey management or something different, up to you. I trust you, do that, but stop speaking about strange words and focus on what we really need. And based on that, my question is, we are a bit in a community. We are always speaking about the same topics. How can we get a better connection to outside of this community?
Yeah, so the first thing that I take away from your experience there and what you shared is that you were talking with a CFO. And it's interesting because all of us have to eventually talk to our finance advisors. And we've gotten to a point where everyone knows what the term profit means. Everyone knows what revenue expenses mean. No one asks the CFO, I don't care what method you're using, because there are accepted standards. So the first thing that I think we need to remember as a community is when you invent a different model, when you use a different term, when you try to go and do something that is I think you use strange terms or these other terms, you are creating and seeding confusion. If you can go back and you can say, this is the definition from the global society, it is helpful to just move forward on to the next question. And that next question, I totally agree, is a huge one for us. How do we make sure that we stay focused on business results? And business results are happier customers, happier employees, and a better bottom line. And so that is something we as customer experience people have to keep in mind. The goal is never to have a higher NPS score or to have a better CSAT. The goal is always to have happier customers, happier employees, and happier business bottom lines. We might measure that with a piece, but we really have to think what's the outcome that we're looking to drive. So how do we make sure that we bring that forward to others? Very important question, very dear to CXPA. In addition to the Book of Knowledge, we published 8 monographs back on CX Day. And those monographs are all designed to help a CX professional talk with their counterparts throughout the organization, whether it is building more effective collaboration with the C-suite or with the finance department or with marketing. Each monograph helps you as a CX leader better understand what's important to that department, what their terms and their measures are, and ways that you can work with them. So a great way to build success on one side is to build it from within the organization. The second way is to make sure that when we have an opportunity, we are pointing the general public back to the broad definition of CX, rather than the occasional misuses. So I know how frustrating it is when you have a bad customer service exchange, but don't post that on LinkedIn and say, this is an example of bad customer experience. At best, say, this is a byproduct of a customer experience product, design that isn't working correctly. But when you use the term customer experience interchangeably with a magical marketing moment or with a customer service breakdown, you are failing to focus on the fact that customer experience is a business management discipline that's designed to create consistent results over time. It is not one interchange. It is the perception that is formed across all of those interchanges.
I think what you're saying brings me also to think about that. Please allow me to say that we as a customer experience professional, we need also to align what we are doing with the purpose of the company, with the vision of the company. And perhaps could you share also your view about these purpose-led companies?
I love that. And I 100% agree. There's a lot of conversation at the moment about customer experience, employee experience, brand experience, connecting to purpose. And, as I said earlier, we have to keep in mind that the outcome we're looking for are happy customers, happy employees, and better business results. And that comes through a number of different features in a number of different spaces. But let me give you a practical example. Yesterday, Roxy Stromenger at UKG posted to the UKG blog talking about the importance of empathy across the organization. Not just to employees, but also to the values that the company has. And that's what we can bring as customer experience professionals to take the world we live in to the next level, is to make better outcomes for all customers, for all potential customers and customers, thinking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, there as well. Thinking about the way that we make sure that the commitment to customers is known and supported in the C-suite, and to think about how we create better employee experiences as well. And one piece of advice for anyone who's listening in at the moment, if you find that your commitment to customers is not in line with your organization's brand commitment to customers, you probably need to start looking for your next job. It's not going to be sustainable for you on your mental health, and it's probably not going to be supported. Your CX initiatives are probably not going to be supported if your brand doesn't have the same values that you do.
And based on, if you're speaking about values, top management support, and then brand purpose, then I need to ask this question. What's the role of the culture in a company?
Oh, yeah. I think that this is actually, it may be the space I should have answered when you asked earlier about what's changed with customer experience. If you rolled the clock back, probably even just 5 years, the big buzzword at that time was customer centricity. And there was the thought that if you just focus everything on the customer, that everything will be solved. And it's important. Customer centricity is very important, but it's not enough if you don't bring forward the culture as well. How do we balance the way that we treat our employees, the way that we develop our employees, the way that we empower and share information with our employees to allow them to deliver the great customer experience? How do we hold our brand values in terms of what is fair, what is right, what is equitable, what is just? And that is, both across our customer levels and our place in being in the community. And so culture is one of those core pillars, and I'd have to say that what's interesting about the culture pillar is that it is the one that requires the most advanced form of leadership, change management leadership. And that it requires the greatest amount of collaboration, to the C-suite and to others. And it's why CX professionals shouldn't view themselves as superheroes that wear a cape and swoop in to break fix a problem. They should instead view themselves as strong, empathetic humans that work alongside other great teammates throughout the organization. And we should be looking to, of course, always hold up the customer, but always hold up our teammates and talk about how they're helping to create the success along the way.
I think you are perfectly describing also the role of a CX professional, because we cannot solve everything. We cannot continue only trying to push water uphills, trying to explain to everybody. We have also this education role, and this is something that what the CXPA is really supporting us with the great community, with the books that you shared and you mentioned. And one important thing is also sharing experiences. And I'm thinking about the CX Day now. We are having that since several years. If I remember well, and please, if I say something wrong, please correct me. 2021, the motto was CX is a team sport. Last year is CX drives success. And could you please elaborate about the CX Day and how the CXPA created this idea?
Yeah, so CX Day, first Tuesday in October, tremendous vision, by the CXPA board and early leaders to say we should have a day where we not only recognize the CX leaders that are driving success, but we also celebrate the customers and we celebrate the teammates who are helping to create a better world. And so it is another space to engage and inspire, I think are the terms that I would use, your entire organization in thinking about the difference that customer experience has made for your organization, and to also encourage CX professionals to do more and to be more successful, along the way by highlighting the great work, that has been done. CXPA on CX Day, CXPA always develops a theme. I will not announce the theme for 2023, today, but I will invite, the viewers to drop me an email at greg@cxpaglobal.org if you have a interest in getting involved in the planning for CX Day. With that theme, what we look to do is we look to give companies an organizing framework, CXPA networks an organizing framework, and to create some communication strategies to the general public. During the course of CX Day, many companies will host internal appreciations. Sometimes the CEO will record a message about the importance. Sometimes they'll bring together frontline staff and executive staff. Sometimes they'll do thank you initiatives for key customers. But CXPA itself, it always loves that day because we also announce our Impact Award winners and our Emerging Leaders class on CX Day as well. So this year we'll be introducing a new award, and the award will be based on collaboration. And so we will be looking to put a spotlight on particularly effective collaborations between a CX team and either another department within their organization, with a customer, or with a supporting organization outside that has allowed the organization to better serve its customers by working together with others.
Oh, that's really interesting. Thank you for sharing that on this podcast. We are very much looking forward what will happen at the CX Day and what the theme will be, and not looking only in October this year, but looking in the future. In 10 years from now, we are back on the CX Goalkeeper podcast, and we are discussing about customer experience. Perhaps you have a bit different role, but what we are going to discuss about?
Yeah, so a couple things that I would be hopeful for in 10 years. First and foremost is a rooted commitment of the board of directors, which is that in 10 years, that CX will be a known, established, and respected career path. so that when we're talking to our next generation, our kids, our friends' kids, and things, that people are thinking, I want to grow up and be a CX professional. That's the space that I want to be. So that's one half. The second half is that we want to ensure that customer experience is known as a preferred business strategy. So in addition to thinking about being a environmentally friendly organization or being one that has great public trust, we want people to think that organizations that have a strong customer experience program or commitment are preferred organizations to work with, and that by committing to customer experience and doing customer experience well, those organizations are seeing better results. So that's one overarching goal. How will we see that manifest? I think that the growth of the CCXP program has been fantastic, but I think we need to accelerate and have many more CCXPs, and to have many more organizations that are trusting the leadership of their CX programs to CCXPs so that they get those results that we just talked about. I think that we will see, you like that one? I think that we'll see colleges and universities structuring content programs and aligning them with the CXPA CX framework. I think that we will see a variety of education available through CXPA in different languages, and giving both global content with a localized flavor so that people can find and advance their career. And then I think that we will see that we've hit those ideas of credibility. We've hit those ideas of certification and education and making business impact. But at the core of it, we've kept the feeling of a community that supports one another and welcomes everyone to bring their gifts to the community and contribute, and also learn and benefit from their involvement.
I am looking forward for the future that you are describing, really looking very much for it. I want to say thank you very much, Greg. We are coming to the end of this game, but in the last 3 minutes of the extra time, I still have 2 questions for you. You already shared your email address, but if people would like to contact you, what's the best way?
Yeah, probably the 2 best ones, email, and I have to admit, I get a lot of emails, Greg at CXPAglobal.org. So I apologize in advance for any delay in responding. Feel free to send them again if I haven't answered. The second is, the CX community is very active on LinkedIn, and I encourage you to connect with me. And you'll always know that it's me, because you will not find my profile without my CAE connected with it. So there are a few other Greg Melias in the world. I am not a mixed martial arts fighter, and I am not qualified to give you financial investment advice. But and I'm not a bike rider in the UK. But you can find me on LinkedIn and connect there as well.
Thank you very much. And for the people that were not aware of the CXPA before that, where they can find the CXPA?
Yeah, come visit us at CXPA.org or CXPAglobal.org. We will be proud to have you connect. We have ways for you to be involved at all sorts of different levels. But let me suggest, if you're watching this podcast, one thing that I'd love for you to have as a takeaway is visit whatiscx.com and share that on with somebody else today, so that we can help spread the common understanding of customer experience and advance the work that we're doing together.
Thank you very much. And the very last question is Greg's golden nugget. It's something that we discussed or something new that he would like to leave to the audience.
Yeah, what I love about this podcast is that you are inspiring a lot of people who are interested in CX. Some of them are currently in a CX role. Some of them would like to be in a CX role in the future. My advice to each of you is to take control of your career. Make today the day that you think about what you want to achieve and what you want to give back to the world and what you want to do with those working hours. And take a look at cxjobboard.com, for opportunities, and explore the opportunities to be a CX professional, and be prepared, because the next impact opportunity for you is right around the corner.
I can only say thank you very much, Greg. It was a great pleasure. Please stay with me. To the audience, I think it's time to reflect about what Greg told us, all the insight that he shared with us, and the golden nugget that he shared with us. Feedback is a gift. Please let me know, let Greg know about your thoughts, your question. We are here to answer the questions. Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Greg.
If you enjoyed this episode, please share the word of mouth, subscribe it, share it. Until the next episode, please don't forget, we are not in a B2B or B2C business, we are in a human-to-human environment. Thank you!